This father and daughter share the same tent every night. Even though the girl is already a teenager, they've been living deep in the wilderness for as long as she can remember. Her father, Will, is a retired veteran suffering from severe PTSD. The city, the crowds, they terrify him, so he made a choice to leave it all behind and raise his daughter, Abby. In the middle of nowhere, they build a home in the forest, growing vegetables, foraging mushrooms, living completely off the grid. Will is a survival expert. He teaches Abby how to stay hidden, how to adapt to the wild. As a single father, he does everything to protect her. And Abby, she thrives in the wilderness, like a child of nature. But even in the forest, Will's trauma never really left him. Avoiding people was the only way he felt safe. Whenever they had to go to town for supplies, he would take different routes, leaving no trace behind. One day, on their way to town, Abby found a necklace on the ground. She was fascinated by this tiny piece of human civilization. She asked her father, "If it's still there when we come back, can I keep it?" Will nodded. Before stepping into town, they fix each other's clothes and hair, trying not to stand out too much. Abby had barely seen the outside world. Everything amazed her. Cars racing on the highway, helicopters roaring in the sky. In the supermarket, she'd look at something and ask, "Dad, can we buy this? Do we want it or do we need it?" Back in the forest, Will would resell medicine to other veterans, earning a little extra money to get by. They cherished every single item they had, living with the bare minimum, but their peaceful life was about to be shattered. One afternoon, Abby was reading on a hill when she spotted a man at the bottom. Her heart pounded.
Hello? Somebody up there?
She immediately dropped to the ground, trying to stay out of sight, but it was too late. The man had seen her. Terrified, she ran back to camp and said nothing to her father. But then, a dog barked in the distance. Will instantly knew something was wrong. That man had called the police. He grabbed Abby's hand, told her to run. They had a meeting spot deep in the forest, and they needed to split up, but the police were already close, tracking them with search dogs. They barely had time to hide, and when the dogs closed in, there was no escape. Will was caught first, and he knew he couldn't leave Abby alone in the wild, so he called her name, and she stepped out. They were taken back to the city. Abby was placed in a shelter, surrounded by other kids, but she didn't fit in.
Where were you?
With my dad in the park.
So you were homeless then?
No.
Why else would you be living in the woods? Okay, if you had a home, they wouldn't have brought you here.
Well, they just don't understand that it was my home.
To them, she was just a homeless girl. Because she was underage, she had to take a psychological test, and to everyone's surprise, she scored far above average, even though she had never been to school. Her father had been teaching her all along. Will was also tested to see if he was abusive or dangerous, but in the end, they both passed, and finally, the father and daughter were reunited.